I first engaged seriously with poetry when I submitted my poems into a competition for young writers. The age limit was quite low, it was 21, and I think I was 17 or 18 at that time, and we really were gathering at tables and reading each other's texts and then trying to, give each other feedback and really work. That was quite exciting, and it was really important for me because it was a great signal that there are other people who are into the same thing and care about similar things, and that was one of the real reasons why I kept reading more poetry, and I really decided that this is the way that I want to take. There were two main things that really kept poetry in my life. Café Fra is this literary cafe in Prague, or it was recently closed, that had literary program every week. There was a reading or a discussion, and at one point I started taking photographs there and just going there every week and listening to other people talk about their work or other people's work that they've been translating, or maybe generally reflecting on literature and poetry. That was just very exciting for me, and because the choice of the authors who were there was so good, thanks to Petr Borkovec who took care of that. It was great inspiration. It was a lot of new impulses for me, and it showed me new books, new styles, and I think even new approaches to really working with language. And the other is just the constant need to express oneself. And for me, I also work with photography, I work in a magazine, but poetry is still the closest medium to me, or the closest tool, or the best tool that I think I have for just reflecting on the world and expressing how I see it, how I think about it. At the very beginning, I was influenced by mostly rockers and songwriters. I read Jim Morrison's poetry that was published at a time when I was starting with poetry, and looking back that was really bad and not poetry at all. Bob Dylan was published at that time, also badly translated, not very good. But then I slowly started reading like old Japanese poetry, Matsuo Basho, Issa, and these kind of people, and I fell for that, and I started reading really more and quite diversely. I also dabbled into authors from the Black Mountain College like Denis Levertov and Robert Creeley that had some influence, and also the whole Beat generation was quite important for me. Later I think I started reading a lot more of Czech contemporary poetry. Petr Borkovec, Petra Hruška, those are important people, but also, Silva Fischerova and Viola Fischerova, two really important ladies of Czech poetry, and also younger people who are sort of the same age as me. I consider traveling abroad to be the highlight of my life with poetry, really meeting other poets in other countries and talking to them and working with them and working on translation. So a great experience for me was in 2022 traveling to Scotland and working with poets there, and again receiving new impulses, new types of inspiration, because other people just work with different topics and also approach the text differently. And this something similar or as exciting was this year going to Slovenia and being part of the translation workshop with the Slovene poets here. So that was great. I really loved that. Everyone says that younger or emerging poets should read a lot other works, and I completely agree with that. But I also think it's very important to meet other people who are writing, and I think it's quite useful to translate, to even attempt translating, even if you don't know the language that well, but to try to really dissect and decode the words in front of you, and to try to find the meaning that is behind them. And I think that's a great exercise, and it can do a lot for you. I think generally speaking, meeting other poets, other creatives is just, it's extremely important. Once you're standing in front of a crowd and, reading or reciting your poetry to people whom you've never met before, and you need to sort of read the room or scan the space in front of you, that's quite important, I think, also. And generally just seeing new places and traveling is always exciting, and the atmosphere is always different, so that's great.